Welcome back, pre-pressers. This is your Professor Ben, and I'm giving you a quick little video here on image resolution in Photoshop, because the resolution of a raster or pixel-based image is important to print. I don't know how much we've covered it yet, but the general agreed upon consensus, and what actually physically works well, is you need a minimum of 300 dots per inch at the size that you're going to print the picture. There are maths that can be done that used to have to be done all the time, because when you were shooting your pictures with cameras and lenses that did certain percentages of enlargements and reductions, you had to know what you were going to get before you started. But there's a handy little image size calculator built into Photoshop. So if you have a JPEG that someone's given you, or any sort of raster image, open that up in Photoshop and you can get a quick peek under the hood. Image size. Brings up a menu that tells us how big this is. The dimensions here are 1,200 pixels by 900 pixels. That's how many pixels are in this. Remember that when we talked about this sort of thing a few weeks ago in the image editing software chapter, we talked about how pixel-based images their size is resolution dependent. That means you have a certain amount of pixels, and depending on how many pixels you give per inch is how big it's going to be. So here we know that we have 1,200 pixels by 900 pixels. The math here is easy to do by your head, but it still shows you below as well. If we are running 300 pixels per inch, because pixels per inch works as dots per inch for our purposes here in printing, you can see that 4 inches by 3 inches at 300 gives you is 1,200 by 900. Also, the very simple head math on this, 1,200 divided by 300 is 4. And 900 divided by 300 is 3. So 4 inches by 3 inches. We'll go backwards on this by uncheck resample, and you don't want to use that unless you have a very specific purpose to do it, because that does weird things. Let's take a look. If this was 72 dots per inch, which is the general screen resolution for the internet and things you look at on your computer, you can see that it would have showed up as a 12.5 by almost 17-inch picture. So if a client says their picture is 12 by 17, you still need to check, because they may be knowing that that's the inch size, but remember that the inches don't mean anything until you assign how many pixels are you going to spend per inch. So 300 gives us the 4 by 3 size you're looking for. Let's take a look at another one. Here's another image that I gave you for this project. Also coming in here, let's take a look with our image size. This one is unbelievable at 4320 by 3240. Hard to say it because the numbers are so similar reading wise. You have a 10 by 14 inch picture of a input output moverizer thing. I don't even know entirely what the name of that is. I have one for my TV. Anyways, you can see what size is going to be here based off of the pixels per inch that you can set, or pixels per centimeter if you're working with someone overseas and they want to know in metric what that's going to be. You can tell it what resolution you want to see. Let's see if this is 600 dots per inch, which is unbelievable, excruciating, high resolution, really good looking imagery. That's the sort of thing you'd see in a jewelry catalog. You can still use this at a fairly large size picture of that. For being such a silly little electronic object, here we are with a very good picture of it. So one of the things I want you to do with this project is check your image sizes, make sure they're going to work at the size you output them at, and don't use any pictures bigger than they're supposed to be.